Okay, so welcome to this module 5C presentation on child growth and development. So there are different stages that a child will go through in their process of growth, and as a caregiver who may end up caring for children, it's important you're aware of these stages. By way of introduction, as children grow and develop, they go through many physical, cognitive, and emotional changes. And these changes are known as human growth and development. All children will go through these stages, but they may not go through them in the same manner or rate as other children. It's important to remember that all children are unique, including the ones you'll be caring for. Jean Piaget, a famous developmental psychologist, had a theory called the cognitive development theory, and it's widely used today to understand the cognitive development of children. He believed that children go through 4 stages as they construct meaning, they make and understand the meaning of the world. So the first stage from birth to 2 years is called the sensorimotor stage. Infants would construct an understanding of the world as they interact with it through their senses. Infants use the sense of sight, hearing, touch, smell, and even taste to learn about the world around them. Their senses are combined with physical actions and muscle movements such as pushing, pulling, and kicking to make sense of objects around them. For example, a baby kicks a brightly colored ball and learns to understand that they can make the ball move by contracting their muscles. Now, if the ball is out of their sight, they will no longer think about it until they develop something called object permanence, which occurs at the end of the sensorimotor stage. Object permanence is the understanding that something exists even though it is no longer in sight. So even if the child cannot see mommy, by the age of 2, they know there's an entity called mommy. So even if mommy is out of sight, by virtue of object permanence, the child believes that there is mommy. But prior to that, out of sight for the child feels like such a thing is no longer in existence. And here is a child who is between the age of an infant between the age of 0 and 2 years, who is in the sensory motor stage, learning to feel their way through life via the 5 senses. Then the next stage is the pre-operational stage, which is between 2 to 7 years. During this stage, children learn about their world beyond just the senses, and they start using motor actions. They also learn to understand the meaning of words and images. They learn about the world by looking at pictures, by seeing symbols, letters, figures, and by books. Piaget believe that children at this stage cannot perform operations or solve problems mentally, but they still focus on the physical understanding of the world. For example, a child in this stage could not say if there was the same amount of liquid in 2 glasses, even if they saw you pouring equal amounts of liquid in 2 cups, with 1 cup tall and the other short. So that explains why some children will tell you, oh, you gave Kenny more than you gave me, because the cups look different. So to a child in this stage, there appears to be more liquid in the short glass because the glass appears to be fuller. So children in this stage may also believe that inanimate objects such as toys and trees have human-like qualities. So when they handle their teddy, they talk to their teddy, assuming and imagining that the teddy can hear them and the teddy can talk back to them. So the third stage is between the ages of 7 and 11 years. It's called the concrete operational stage. In this stage, the child learns to perform operations such as maths and to reason logically. However, Paget believes that children at this age can only do this with concrete things, things that are right in front of them. He felt that they are unable to reason about abstract things, that is, things that we can only think about or imagine. If a child in this stage was shown the same two glasses as in the previous example, they would have an understanding that there was an equal amount of liquid, even though one glass is taller than the other. So here I have some children between the ages of 7 and 11. And the fourth stage is the formal operational stage. That is from the age of 11 onto adulthood. At this stage, Paget believed that people can move beyond what is concrete or right in front of them and think in abstract ways about things that are not in front of them or which they can only imagine. They're able to reason and perform logical thinking about abstract things. People at this stage begin to think about the possibilities of what could be in the future. And here I have a picture of children in formal operational stage, that is teenagehood into adulthood. So here we'll also talk about the physical, cognitive, and social developments that occurs at these various stages. In infancy, an infant is from birth to 12 months. Physically, infants grow very quickly, and their growth occurs from the head downwards. So this is the reason why an infant's head may appear bigger than their body. Matter of fact, their head is the biggest part of their body. Infants gain control over the head and neck muscles before they gain control over their arms and legs. So it's very important to remember to always provide support for an infant's head and neck, as they do not have the ability to support this for themselves. Never rush a baby to perform any skills they're unable to do before they are physically ready. Don't rush a baby to sit before he or she is ready. Don't rush a baby to crawl before he or she is ready, even if the baby has to be carried with a baby carrier. Be sure that the neck is supported until the baby gains the ability for neck coordination. You also do not want to rush an infant to walk if they're not yet ready to stand. Infants typically will crawl before they sit, will sit before they crawl, and then they will crawl before they stand, and they will stand before they walk. Infants require a lot of sleep during this time period, and they may sleep between 10 and 21 hours per day. So the caregiver should provide the baby with a safe environment in which to sleep, such as a crib. And it's important not to put too many stuffed toys or animals or too many blankets in the crib, because this could potentially lead to suffocation if the child drags those toys or the blankets over the head, especially while sleeping. Language development is also very fast at this age. Baby must move from saying a word or two at around 12 to 13 months to having a vocabulary of about 200 words by 2 years of age. So it's important that children have plenty of interaction with others who speak with them in order to develop their language skills. Infancy is also an important time for children to begin to develop trust in others. So home health aides, excuse me, should ensure that the baby they are working with has all their needs met, such as being fed, being bathed, being changed when their diapers are soiled, and comforted when they are crying. This helps to support positive development, and the child also learns to trust relationships because the caregiver has been providing a trusting relationships. Now, according to Paget, a child at this stage would be in the sensorimotor stage. To support cognitive development of children at this age, home health aides should provide lots of stimulation with safe toys that they can touch and move with a variety of colors and shapes. Then you want to allow babies to explore the environment in a safe way. Babies are very interested in putting things into their mouth to explore their world. So you want to provide safe, clean toys for a baby to do this. So that means the toys have to be washed as often as possible. Could be twice daily, could be thrice daily, could be daily. But once it's soiled, you want to wash it, knowing that the baby will put it in his or her mouth. Now, the development in the toddler stage, that's between the age of 1 and 3 years. Toddlers continue to grow and develop physically from infancy. This is also a time of great growth cognitively and socially. So children at this stage advance with the ability to use gross motor skill, that is activities using large muscles such as kicking a ball or walking, as well as fine motor skills. Those are activities using smaller muscles such as picking up a paper or drawing or writing. Toddlers have a desire to become independent as they now see themselves as separate from their parents or caretakers. So independence should be encouraged in a safe manner. For example, infants who want to climb the stairs themselves should not be allowed to do so. However, with the support and careful assistance from a caregiver who stands behind them and provides assistance, toddlers can be allowed to go upstairs one at a time safely. And here is a picture of a toddler running and smiling. Toddlers also learn to gain control over their bowels and bladders during this time. So potty training is about this time. And praise should always be provided during toilet training, and children should not be scolded if they have accidents or wet the bed. This would not do any good but damage their self-esteem. Since this is a time of great exploration, care should always be taken to provide for a safe environment. Medications, cleaning supplies, and other hazardous chemicals and objects should be locked up and away from a toddler's reach. The caregiver should provide encouragement for a toddler to explore the environment and to play games such as make-believes. This is also an important time to develop routines and rules to follow. So time to sleep, time to wake up, now is the time to brush the teeth, now is the time to eat. And these are the things we don't play with. We don't play with knife, we don't play with sharps. When we go to the toilet, we wash our hands. So this is an important time to begin to develop routines and rules for the child to follow. Then toddlers may have temper tantrums when they do not get their way. So they could scream, they could kick, they could throw things. As the caregiver, you want to remain calm and be firm, yet gentle as you redirect your toddler towards another activity. According to Paget, children at this stage are in the sensorimotor to pre-operational stage, depending on their age. So children at this age begin to represent the world using symbols and inanimate objects, can begin to take on lifelike qualities. This is a great deal of imagination at use, so you want to encourage such. Then puppets, coloring, drawing, and make-believe play are good opportunities to help a child develop cognitively at this stage. Exploration of the environment around them is important. So caregivers should provide lots of play and opportunities for the children. You want to allow them to learn what they are capable of doing, such as building towers with blocks. Then as the caregiver, you also want to assist with development of language by reading to the child and pointing to objects in the books as they name them. Now, the age of 3 to 6 years is referred to as the preschool age. Physical development continues during the preschool age. Gross and fine motor skills continue to develop. Physical activity is important to help the child develop motor skills and to maintain healthy weight. So during the preschool years, excuse me, children continue to gain independence and begin to form social relationships. Vocabulary and language development is very fast at this age. The caregiver should continue to read to the child, or you allow them to read if they are able at this age. Then you provide lots of encouragement and praise during reading because this will help to build the self-confidence of the child. And you want to encourage the child to develop language and fine motor skills through writing and drawing activities. And here I have pictures of some children at the preschool age. So the preschool age is also a good time to begin to teach children right from wrong and to take on small responsibilities within the home, such as cleaning up their toys, picking up their toys, helping to set up the table, cleaning up after themselves when they're done eating, because this will encourage them to build self-esteem. According to Paget, the child continues to be in the pre-operational stage of cognitive development at this phase. So the caregiver should continue to provide play opportunities and encourage imagination and exploration of the world around them. School age is between the age of 6 and 12 years. School age children continue to grow, but at a more consistent and steady rate than in earlier childhood. Children at this age become involved in many physical activities, which continue to help improve their muscle coordination and balance. Children often become involved in activities such as running, bike riding, skating, and swimming. These are good activities for children and will help them to maintain a healthy weight. So the school age years are a time of great cognitive and social growth. Children will enter school often for the first time and begin to develop social connections and friendships. Prior to that, children are in kindergarten, they are in nursery classes. Those are ideally the preschool age. But from the age of 6 and above, they get into primary 1 and onwards. That ideally is when formal school should begin. 5 and under is considered preschool. Then they begin to learn gender behaviors, how females and males act. Then their sense of self-esteem is developing and opportunities to encourage and praise should be sought. School-age children may need assistance with completing their homework and studying for exams. So as the caregiver, if you care for one of such children, you want to provide opportunities for children to read by allowing them to read or their loved ones and to practice writing skills. We also want to provide lots of encouragement and praise during reading to help build self-esteem and self-confidence. You also want to provide lots of encouragement and praise during reading to help build, I said that earlier. You also want to provide assistance when the child struggles with a word, but do not take over or make them feel badly for not being able to recognize a word. Bear in mind they're still learning. You help them to sound it out. This is the time period when learning disabilities may become more apparent. So dyslexia may be more obvious at this phase. ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, may be more apparent at this stage. So if as the caregiver, you notice that the child you care for appears to struggle with keeping attention, reading, writing, or with maths, you want to inform the supervisor, because there may be support systems in place within their school to help children who struggle with learning. There are some specialists, such as speech therapists and social workers, that may be added to the team to work with the children who struggle with speech problems or emotional issues, like in the case of autism spectrum disease. Okay. Now, according to Paget, the children at this stage are in the concrete operational stage, and they are better able to reason logically if there are specific and concrete operations. Then you want to support their cognitive development by working with them with games such as memory and using maths and language workbooks. Age 13 to 19 is the adolescent phase. Age 13 to 19 is the adolescent phase. Excuse me, please. My slide just went off. So the adolescent phase is when puberty occurs. And puberty is a stage of development when hormones change and secondary sexual characteristics such as body hair, so at this puberty phase, puberty is the stage of development when hormones change and secondary sex characteristics such as body hair, breasts, and testicular growth occurs. Teens may begin to shave for the first time. Self-care is important, and opportunities to provide assistance and encouragement to maintain personal hygiene should be provided. Teenagers may suffer from oily skin and acne, and care should be taken to keep the face and body clean. Most teens become focused on their appearance during this time, and they need encouragement and support to deal with changing moods and worries about how they look or if their peers like them. So the adolescent time is also a time where peer pressure, that is pressure from other children of the same age, can become intense. Teens may experiment with romantic or sexual relationships, drugs, alcohol, or smoking. So this is a good time to provide education about these topics. So if you have concern about a teen that you work with, and maybe the child is using substances such as alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, or engaging in sexual activities, you want to inform your supervisor. Some teens may also experience eating disorders because of concerns about their appearance. So anorexia is one of such eating disorder, and it's a disorder in which a person does not eat or exercise excessively with the desire of looking very thin. So bulimia nervosa is a disorder in which the person eats very large amounts of food and then purges, that is vomits, or would use laxatives to make them purge in order to eliminate the food. Both of these disorders have very serious physical and emotional consequences, and it could result in malnourishment, serious physical problems such as heart disorders, psychological problems such as depression and suicidal thoughts. So if you suspect or you observe any of such, you want to inform your supervisor immediately. Then medical and psychological interventions and sometimes hospitalization and medications may even be necessary to help a teenager who suffers with or from these disorders. According to Paget, adolescents begin to enter the formal operational stage in which they can think in abstract ways about things that are not in front of them, and they begin to wonder about their future lives. So, as the caregiver, you want to support this development by discussing with them the thoughts about what they would like to do in the future, and of course, you want to support their interests and their dreams. So, with this, we come to the end of this presentation. And as always, thank you for staying with me. I wish you a wonderful day.